I feel like Amit's pants have morphed into Connor's jackets. I'm always checking to see what jacket he's wearing on each pod. Dude's got to have a closet the size of Narnia.
Yes.
Love the Nike windbreaker. You always make fun of me for my closet, which I said I'm holding on to for dear life.
Yeah, I mean, you're like a fashion model. You're Zoolander over here.
I like
okay?
I do like clothes.
Yo, what's up? It's Chris Sims. It's Chris Sims Unbuttoned. Zoolander Rogers is here once again with a new jacket. As always, supporting his squad, the New York Metropolitans.
That's right. The
Mets,
real opening day.
The real
little NBC promo here.
How dare you?
Mets
the real
Pirates,
opening day.
1:15, NBC. Baseball's back on NBC.
Yeah, you know the real opening day was last night when the Yankees kicked it off. Come on, don't disrespect
a snoozer, but a nice little win for the Yankees. That small mom and pop shop New York Yankees
Hey,
team.
it is cool, and I don't even think I realized this. I mean, we work for the company, but I did not realize we were going to have like baseball on big NBC opening day until today. I just realized it just a little while ago.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's cool to see the fact that we're here at NBC, first off, kind of going all in at sports and growing that part of our.
We own Sunday night.
I feel like we're the only ones that are challenging ESPN in the sports department right now.
Right.
So it is. And then, Sunday night, whether it's basketball or football or baseball.
It's huge.
And then Tuesday night, right now, we got a live NBA basketball on NBC and the big channel. And then, of course, baseball here, too. So it'd be cool. It's always good to. I don't get into it right away. You're more of a diehard. I'm just getting into basketball.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm just like, hey, I got to take my time here. And then when we get around the NBA playoffs, I'll start to go, okay, I'm watching the NBA playoffs, but let me start tuning into the Yankees a little bit on a regular basis. That's how I kind of roll there.
Well, because the season is so long.
It's so long. Exactly.
That's the problem is that, like, as I've gotten older, I've become less emotional throughout the season. It's like opening day feels so much bigger in the win-loss column than it actually is. You're like, this is one of 162.
I know.
I need to relax and just let this ride out. So I understand that. And even basketball feels that way, honestly. Like, you have now the load management factor. You have teams that are trying to perfectly fine-tune how to be ready for the playoffs. Where football, we're like, if you lose week one, you're screwed. Like, we just start screaming.
There is no load management in football. Well, that's what makes football great. It's really. It's 17 playoff games almost. That's why we love watching it. The stakes are so high, right? The thing I've always heard is like, one loss in football is like losing 15, 20 games in baseball.
Yes.
Or in 10 games in basketball. And I think that kind of speaks to, how big it is on a week-to-week basis. And it is hard to replace that kind of intensity and just the importance of it on a weekly basis like the NFL has mastered right now.
Had you been on teams that even after one loss in the NFL, it felt like a piano on your back of like, oh my God, how are we going to shake this?
Early in the year, I've had these convos with Florio, and early in the year, it can be jarring. It can be jarring. You get off, and maybe not one game, but you lose the first game, and it is more of a letdown than maybe week 5 because you're like, man, we've prepared for this all off season.
Right, you thought about it.
We kind of like we were playing the Ravens and Rex Ryan one year, right, when he was the D coordinator, Steve McNair's first year. I mean, we kind of started preparing for them in the spring. Because we're like, Rex has got crazy blitzes.
Sure.
Let's dabble in this. And then through training camp, we had little periods of practice to get ready for it. Then to get out there and get your ass whooped in that game, and then I played horrible, and then we changed some things personnel-wise where we practiced all these things to play one way, and then 5 days before the game we went, we're going to play another way. Yeah. And it was like, what? We've been doing this the whole offseason. But my biggest point there is just that after week 1, you lose it. You do feel a little panic because everyone's like, all right, we got to get a win. We got to get something going. I don't know if I ever felt more pressure in a building, though, ever. I mean, I played in a playoff game and it was on other teams that were on playoff teams as a backup quarterback. I don't know if I ever felt more pressure in a building than I did when we were at Tampa Bay and we started out 0-2 or 0-3. I mean, you felt like you walked in, you could feel the tension with the coaches, and you could feel like ownership was like, are we going to get a win this week? We're 0-2, we're 0-3. Right. We spent this money in the offseason, like, what's going on, right? And that, to me, was the one you could feel more than anything.
When you were younger there, too, so that's actually more overwhelming.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I took over in year 3 for our injured Brian Greasy, and I lost my first 2 starts. And the first one I just played okay, and it was a close game. We lost to the 49ers. Second game, I played pretty good against the really good Carolina Panther football team, but I made one mistake, and it was a pick six. And it was like, damn. I mean, I dropped back 30 times, and I was pretty good on 28 of them.
And that's the difference.
And we lost because of that.
Right.
And so I can remember the pressure on me personally there because the team, we were kind of in the playoff combo, and they were like, I could feel like the defensive guys being like, we might not make the playoffs because you asshole. Like, can you start playing better?
Yeah.
And so that personally, I felt that pressure. But no, the in-season, let's get off to a good start. Oh, no, we didn't. That pressure is crazy, actually, and you can, like, cut it with a knife in a building.
We were talking about how baseball's back.
Yeah.
It's kind of the heat right now of the NBA season as we get ready for the playoffs before you know it. And we got some love for the St. John's jacket as St. John's plays Duke tomorrow.
Appreciate it.
That is, in the chat, too.
Yeah.
Barmadell A, the St. John's jacket, that St. John's jacket is hard, all caps. I need it.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Fountain, good to see Chris flying his colors, but why can't the city guys be Syracuse fans? We are just a couple hours north, and we are New York.
Well, you are New York. You're right. But it feels like you could be another country, too. So that's where it's a little different.
It's so true.
I love the Buffalo Bills, but I don't think of them as the same thing as New York as we are down here, right? It's just it's a different vibe. I do like Syracuse. I like all the old school Big East teams.
Yeah.
But, that to me is just – hey, that's way up there. And I feel like I did like them more back in the day, maybe when they had more New Yorkers on their team.
Well, when they had Melo.
Exactly. You look at their team some years and you'd be like, yeah, two guys are from Jersey. The other three guys are from New York City. Okay, I can root for it. The world's changed that way. But, that's a little too far up there, Syracuse. Sorry, respect, but not going to do that. I am getting a few comments, too, of like, didn't he go to Texas? Where's his Texas jacket? And we're a surprise team in the Sweet 16.
We're asking Texas.
Yeah.
Where is his Texas jacket?
And I need to wear it. I'm going to wear it next week. I have my Texas Letterman jacket. I'm going to wear it on to give the Longhorns some love.
The nice thing is you got 2 bites at the apple here.
Yeah.
Like at St. John's, if they beat Duke, Texas is an 11 seed. If they pull off an upset, that'd be pretty sweet.
Definitely. I know. Too bad we're not on tomorrow. If they pulled off the upset tonight, I'd wear it tomorrow, but we're not on.
Little English 101 to kick off the show. Chris Colhane said, my girl always said a bowl in a China shop. It's actually a bull in a China shop.
That's
Jeffrey, pretty good.
I was actually there in that world with you at one time, too.
Bull in the China shop.
I thought, wait, bowls sometimes are made out of China,
and
right?
They fall
and they break. And like, somebody
good.
Must have been,
I guess that one is like, it works. It's just very funny.
Well, and into that one, too, that's where running roughshod. I always thought forever it was running rough shop.
Me too. That's one I never.
The shop being crazy.
Yes.
The China bowl fell over and broke because
yes.
he was running being rough in the China shop, and I was like, what a shod. What the hell is that? That doesn't make sense. I think the Simsism works better, actually, in that one.
Sandor Clegane said, the best Simsism of all time is killing one bird with 2 stones. That is really freaking good.
Just wanted to make sure it was dead.
Double check. Knocked it out with one, but let's take another
one
throw.
One to the head and one in the body, and they really die. That's what you got to do. I would never do that, too, because I love my birds, that's for sure, especially my chickens.
We got a little bit of a variety buffet show today. Yeah. We've been doing rankings, and we're going to continue to do more rankings. In the second segment, we'll do the honorable mentions because people asked about C.J. Allen and Josiah Trotter, so we'll get to all those guys. The final segment's wild. We have a deep Reddit thread.
I can't get over it.
Somebody did a deep study, and they feel like a pretty unbiased observer.
It looked like they wanted to hate on me, honestly, and then they were like, wait, the results aren't – I can't hate on them.
They did Chris Sims quarterback rankings versus the actual NFL draft. We're not going to spoil the results, but there is a lot of data behind this. And a clear-cut winner.
I'm honored. I'm honored that there was even that much work put into something that I did that way.
A real, lab. This is a Harvard study level.
When Pete Demolitis sent us the little clip of it, I opened it up. I thought we were going to see a few blurbs on Reddit. Like a quote. Here's 3 things that make sense or whatever. And then it was like, whoa, there's a graph. And
EPA,
there's another
and
graph.
AV,
And then there's another graph. And then there's a million comments. And I was like, damn, I've been sitting here for 15 minutes still reading through all this. Very impressive. But, that'll be a fun thing to end off the show there.
But we got NFL draft news. It's pro day season. Let's start with NFL news. Joe Flacco, I think he's become very much more outspoken.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like kind of the when people get older, they don't care anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like, I'm kind of at the end here in terms of my career. It doesn't really matter what I say. And Joe Flacco said he thinks it's dumb that he's not a starting quarterback.
I feel like I have unfinished business. That's part of why I'm still here and playing and doing all those things. And not being one of those guys to go sign somewhere, yeah, it pisses me off a little bit. But at the same time, like, I'm very happy to be here. I had a lot of fun with Joe, and Joe's the guy. And believe me, I wish I was a guy somewhere. And I think teams are dumb for not having me be that guy. But it is what it is, and I'm not going to let them or it get me down. I'm going to be the person I am and just approach football the way I always have.
What do you think of that?
Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I'm biased in that I love Joe. I'm biased in that I've always respected Joe, and I'm biased in my fact that I think Joe's one of the more underrated quarterbacks of our generation. He played in a situation. Let's be serious. It was all about the defense when he took over.
Right.
The Ravens were never about let's be sexy offensively. It was like we're going to play through our defense. We're going to control the ball. And then Joe, even though we haven't gotten you in rhythm, we need you to make a big throw and a big moment for us. And he was amazing at that. Amazing. So that's where I don't think people realize it. I said this to Florio this morning a little when we hit on this subject for a few seconds and just talking about, one, Joe Flacco is a giant human being. I don't think people realize how big he is. He's 6'6", he's an easy 240-something, and he doesn't even need to lift weights to do it. I mean, he is a big dude. His arm is an all-time arm. It's an all-time arm. Now, I'm not saying it's Marino or Favre or Aaron Rodgers or Mahomes or that crew or Josh Allen. It's not quite that powerful. But I always say, like, the next group under, where it's like Tom Brady and Joe Flacco would be in that conversation. Joe Flacco, like a Brady, he's so big and he's long that he can throw his 100-mile-per-hour fastball and make it look like he doesn't have put a lot of effort into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's like, you lose. We used to love watching Favre because you knew when he threw something hard, right? You saw the body and like you were like, oh, my God, he's letting it go, right? Brady and Flacco can kind of just be like, wait, as long as I'm in good rhythm and I get my body in a good position, I don't even need to do it to throw it really hard. And so that's where he's just much more impressible player than I think the public gives him credit for. He's got a point there with talking about, maybe I should be a starter. There's teams where I thought maybe they'll bring him in to be a bridge type guy.
Like in the combo.
Yeah, like your New York Jets. There was a point I was like, I know Frank Reich likes bigger type of quarterbacks, right. Pocket passers that can throw the ball down the field. That might make sense. That one. Then we got, you think about Minnesota. Because I'm trying to think about who's he referring to that he thinks they're dumb. Minnesota, he's probably like, what? Kevin O'Connell, have you watched my career? Nobody can throw 25-yard lasers on crossing routes to guys like Justin Jefferson better than me. So he's probably like, what? I could have done that.
Right.
And then I'll throw this one out there because I just, stirred thoughts. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, man.
I'll sit here and argue right now, and you know what of a fan I am with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I made a song with him, and I think he's the man, and arguably, like, at his prime, the greatest ever. But you ask me right now, who would you rather have, Aaron Rodgers or Joe Flacco?
I'm not sure it's close.
I don't. Joe Flacco, I feel like will at least throw the ball down the field and try to go after it and win the game. And you saw last year when he's in a spot like Cincinnati, he's got a little support around him. He can still do some damn good things with a Jamar Chase and a T. Higgins. So, yeah, it's cool to see him, like you said, be that honest. And it's awesome to see a guy as good as he is to still keep playing because he loves the sport and he knows he can still play.
To be 41 and take care of himself the way he has at that level is – and, I was looking up when you said it because I always forget he's a real 6'6". Not like, hey, 6'5" and an 8.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco's combine, he was 6'6" and 3/8. We always joke about how no one does the 3-cone anymore.
Yeah.
He had a 6'8", 2-3-cone.
Not surprised.
At 236 pounds. He always gets like the reputation of like he's a big pocket passer that can't move. He was an insane athlete at that size. Insane athlete.
He made way more plays. I would challenge people to go back to 2008, 2009, 2010, watch some of those games, and you'll realize I didn't realize he moved around the pocket quite that way to extend plays and make plays happen. I saw it. I saw it his rookie year when I played with the Tennessee Titans and we were the number 1 seed. He came to town as a rookie and upset us and made some plays and throws where I was like, man, Joe Flacco's real. Then I saw it the next year. I was in the Denver Broncos. We were 6-0. We went to Baltimore to play them. He did even crazier shit. And I was like, man, Joe Flacco is real. But they never were about offense and passing yards. And stats. And it was Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. And then it was like, hey, we need a big throw here, Joe. And you're Joe. Nothing affects you, so just make it. I mean, they were one of the few teams that challenged the Patriots during that era. They were like, no, we've had enough. We've had enough of you. We're coming to town to beat your ass today. So I respect that. And here's another one I'll throw out at you, because this came up today too. Florio asked me, who would you rather have, Matt Ryan or Joe Flacco? And he goes, who's the better career? I go, well, Matt Ryan had the better career. We know that statistically.
Like his peaks.
Yeah. And, they were all about offense and stats. I mean, he got early on in his career, it was like Roddy White, Julio Jones. Oh, my gosh. Oh, this is amazing. But I will say this, and I don't know if this is going to be controversial or not. If you gave me one game in their prime and asking me who I would want my quarterback to be, I would take Joe Flacco. And I don't say that to be disrespectful to Matt Ryan. I understand he is an awesome football player. But Joe Flacco could do some special things. And Joe Flacco is one of those guys that, in big moments can go above and beyond what the playbook offers to him. And that's, to me, I value that more than just like, oh, the system guy, or, he's open, you hit him. Whoa, okay, great. And that's where I think Flacco is a little underrated in the public's eyes.
This would be an interesting show to do one day during the quiet time of year, but his 2012 playoff run
is insane.
Is in the conversation for the best ever. Mm-hmm. Like 2011 Eli was insane.
Yes, it was.
Flacco 2012, which the year after, he threw 11 touchdowns, no picks.
Yeah.
He averaged almost 11 yards per attempt.
Yeah.
He was basically like,
they
totally
pushed it.
blacked out.
Nothing was like, he had Anquan Bolden, a little later, or maybe during that year.
I actually want to see who
him,
his
Steve Smith, but I don't think in 2012, I don't think he had those guys. He didn't have Steve Smith on that team. I know that for sure.
You were right about Bolden.
Yes, Bolden. They had the kick returner, Jacoby Jones.
Torrey Smith.
Torrey Smith was their other guy. That's right.
And neither of them had 1,000 yards.
So and they're a team there. In 2011, I was working. Or 2011, they missed the field goal. They should have beat the Patriots to go to the Super Bowl and play the Ravens in that one. 2012, I was there with New England, and they came into town and beat the Patriots, of course, and then went on to beat the 49ers. But yeah, Joe Flacco, awesome backup, and I think is smart to go, wait, I'm not just going to go anywhere just to go and look like crap like we always talk about. He goes to a place where he goes, wait, this quarterback does get hurt, and if I do get in the game, I can get in and be successful and show everybody that I can still play. And, I think that's the smart play by Joe.
I think he got a weird rap when they were moving to Lamar, because I don't think it was ever towards Lamar. I just think Flacco felt like he wasn't done.
Yeah.
And if you told us we'd be going into the 2026 season
and he's still going.
And he's still going.
Yes.
You'd think people are crazy. By the way, 86 Phil Simms in that combo as well. 8 touchdowns, no picks. He only had 3 games where Flacco and Eli had 4, so that's the stats difference.
That's right.
But
once
again,
good run.
A show for another day, but the best playoff runs.
That's a good one. Let's put that in the doc.
I would really like to go
rank that
in quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
I like that.
All right, so Joe Flacco thinks he should still be a starter. I'm sure we will see him. Patrick Mahomes. We finally get to see, not finally, because this is pretty fast, 3 months since his torn ACL and LCL in that left knee. Mahomes, though, on his Instagram, he's out there throwing already. I mean, he's going to be an absolute lunatic in rehab. We know that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like what are you betting? You're betting he's playing week 1, right? Of course.
Yes.
Like, first off, we're in 2026, like you said. The recovery time for ACL now is like, what would you say, 7 months almost?
Yeah, the total gold standard of quickest ever was the Adrian Peterson 6 months.
Yes.
Who's arguably one of the freakiest athletes
ever
in world history.
Yeah.
But now it's sports science, because that was a long time ago. I feel like we're in especially for a quarterback.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
He's probably in the 9-month range.
Yeah,
and
I guess
he's
so,
Patrick
maybe.
Mahomes.
Yeah.
So I'll bump it down to 7 or 8.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, with that, the rehab, again, the quarterback thing, I think, does allow a speedier recovery compared to a receiver or running back, because, they're not making a living jamming their leg into the ground to make sharp cuts with people hitting them as they're doing it. But 100%, I would bet my house that Patrick Mahomes is going to be the starting quarterback week 1 there in Kansas City. You said it right. Lunatic, psycho, all-time gym rat. I mean, that's what's amazing about Mahomes. Mahomes is put together as in, one, he's a phenom. He came into the league as a phenom. He took over the league his first year starting. We were like, whoa, that doesn't happen. That's rare. And then on top of that, he's adopted this Brady method of like, I'm just going to be all in on football all the time until my career ends. And that's what he is. And then, you've heard me talk about it before. When you're in Kansas City, that's all they talk about. And, I've been there in Kansas City. They ask him about everything because they know he's working and involved. Hey, what do you think about the draft? Oh, I looked at some film. I know some receivers that I like, right? I was there on a day where it was cut day once, and I was about to interview him, and they're like, hold on, he's in the meeting with Andy and Brett Veach talking about, who's going to make the team and who's not.
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't even know if I was supposed to share that, but I just did. Okay, but regardless, that's the kind of guy he is, and of course, I'm not shocked to see that. He's down there in Texas at his spot working, and glad to see my homie Mahomes getting back at it.
Schnarbar said, people seem to think Mahomes is missing most of the season, and there is no way that is happening.
Yeah, there's no way.
I don't think he's mentally capable of watching a season.
Totally not. He'll be ready to go. He's got all the right people looking after him all the time. And just the point we just mentioned, again, is he going to be full 100% Mahomes, going to be able to scramble around and run and do all the stuff that we know he can do? No, he probably won't. He's probably going to have to play in the pocket a little bit more. He's not going to be quite as mobile, but he'll be enough to where he can go out there and carve a defense out. And then, on top of that, we know the Kansas City team and him are going to be extremely motivated by the way last year ended up.
We expect Mahomes back. We know that Travis Kelce will be back.
Yeah.
K. Gemma said, why did the Chiefs sign Kelce to 3 years? But it's kind of a phony contract.
Not real.
It's really a 1-year deal.
That's right, Connor.
It's got 2 void years on it where this is structured just to kind of spread out the money. I think
it's to spread out the money and then to protect themselves a little bit to go, oh, damn, he actually did have a good year. It is pretty good. You know what? We will keep him. We got the first right here, so we don't have to deal with a free agent and somebody else trying to do that or do that again. So I think they're trying to kind of have the best of both worlds, maybe spread some money out like you talk about, but then also on top of that, hey, he's a legend here. We don't want him to really – I don't think they want him to play for anybody else, and I don't think he wants to play for anybody else. Exactly. He doesn't want to do that. But, yeah, all in all, again, if you made me bet, I would bet this is Travis Kelce's last year. But if he blows it out of the water and his body feels great and Taylor says go play again and do all that, now Kansas City can be like, all right, well, if you do decide to do that, we got you under contract. We don't have to worry about this, shenanigans again next year.
We saw the Eagles with Dallas Goedert recently do this. When you have the void years built in, you can move around the deadline date.
That's exactly too.
And, eventually if you go past the deadline, then the void years enact and that player's leaving.
Yeah, there's some play. There's some room to play with it a little bit.
Yes, it's a total manipulation of the cap, which we're seeing around the league. Everybody's taking advantage of that. Big Bash 8 said, how big of an offseason is this for Mahomes and the Chiefs? Never seen so much upside in the AFC West as this, but Vegas looks to be on the right path. Denver, of course, and the Chargers.
Yeah, this is going to be big.
The AFC West is the same as the NFC West, like in terms of and you have Arizona and the Raiders, of course. They're picking 1 and 3 in the draft.
Right.
But the other 3 teams
are phenomenal.
They're all borderline Super Bowl contenders.
Exactly.
Not playoff teams.
Yeah, the Chargers are still going like this.
Right. They just got Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, the Broncos are looking at it going like, man, we were a game away. Like, we're close, and now we got Jalen Waddle. Watch out. So, incredible division. Incredible coaches that we've talked about.
That's the difference.
That's where it's going to be tough. It is. And had this conversation a little bit. We were talking about the Detroit Lions earlier today, and this, it pertains to the Kansas City Chiefs as well. Teams usually have your Super Bowl window is only open for 2 or 3 years.
Right. In the NFL, it's
the NFL. It's the way it is. It's a 2 or 3 year shelf life. That's why you and I laugh all the time when we're like, we're worried we can't play 10 years for us. It's like, when have you worried about 10 years of anything in the NFL?
It's just not the league anymore.
It's 2 and 3 year contracts, and we move from there. That's what it is. Everything is, the whole league. But within that, they're a team, like the Lions are finding out, we probably arguably the best team in the NFC 2 years in a row, never got to the big game, and then all of a sudden it's year 3, and it's like, oh, gosh, okay, wait, we got to climb the ladder again. Well, the NFC North got better. Uh-oh. Oh, man, I made a few bad decisions on 4th downs. Oh, man, we lost that game. We shouldn't have lost it. Damn, we're 9-8.
Dan Campbell said it.
Yes.
Remember after they lost?
I know. To the 49ers.
Like, there's no guarantee we're getting back here.
Exactly.
And everybody was like, how could he say that?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, he knows what the league is
The league is brutal. It's coming. It's so close, and it comes down to a guy making a play or a lucky bounce and
kick.
All of that. Exactly. So my point being is just that every 2 or 3 years, you got to kind of reinvent yourself. And I think we're kind of watching the Chiefs in this process right now where I don't know what to think of them. I know they're going to be good. I know they're going to bounce back.
Well, how about this?
But I still look at some things on their team and go, I'm not sold on that position or that position.
You said they're going to be good. You believe they're going to bounce back.
Yeah.
Brian S. in the chat said, are the Chiefs still considered a Super Bowl contender? They were bad even with Mahomes.
I would say that I would not put them in the Super Bowl contender window. They're going to be by the public because of Mahomes, which is like annoying. We've had this argument with Josh Allen, where there's been teams in Buffalo where I go, they're not that good. But it's Josh Allen, and everybody just goes, "Oh, they got the quarterback, so they should be in the Super Bowl."
Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
I blame Manning and Brady because those teams were so good for so long, and the normal fan just saw Manning and Brady, and they went, "Oh, so if you have a quarterback, your team's good." And it's like, no. The Colts had all these Hall of Famers, and so did the Patriots. They're really good. I mean, Brady got hurt, and they went 11-5 without him. You have to have a team. You got to have something there. But I'll say. I don't know if I look at them as a Super Bowl. They got to prove that to me. Right. As I would sit here right now, I'd go, they're a playoff contender. I'm not going to put them in the Super Bowl window. I'm not. I think it's a valid question. Yeah. Stirring my brain there a little bit. But questions at receiver, I still got him. And we don't even know what's going to happen with Rasheed Rice. He could be in trouble and suspended again.
Secondary's decimated. Defensive line, okay, there's some solid. But Chris Jones, we know it's coming to an end. Karlaftis is good. They got Tonga. That'll help out, certainly. But, offensive line, pretty good. Aging tight end that we talked about. So, there's things I question about them that I got to see first before I can say Super Bowl window. Right now, I would just say they're a playoff caliber team. And now, to be fair to Kansas City, they have a lot of draft capital finally.
Yeah.
Let's
see if they can make it happen here.
Ruben Bain fell to us, or a Caleb Downs fell to us, and then we hit on the 29th pick.
Exactly.
We're a lot better than everybody expected.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So... Okay. That was from Brian S. Best quarterback division. We talked about just best division as a whole. Almada 7000 said, would you guys say the AFC West next year can be the best 4 starting quarterbacks in one division of all time? Mahomes, Herbert, Bo Nix, and now Fernando Mendoza entering the fray. Pete's counter was, is this even the best quarterback division right now? Because the NFC East has Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Jackson Dart, Dak Prescott. Yeah. I still don't think that one's as good as the AFC West.
No.
The NFC North.
The NFC North has got a little something there, but it still needs more.
It needs more because, of course, you have Jordan Love, Jared Goff. Yeah. Caleb Williams is on the upswing. And then, people might sleep a little on what Kyler could do with Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because Kyler's kind of become like a meme.
Yeah.
Because we talked about
the way things work.
The contract with the video game clause.
Exactly, right. Playing small in a playoff game.
But if Kyler goes to Minnesota and he's a top 16 quarterback, that would not be shocking in any capacity.
I'm with you there all the way. That would not be shocking. As I sit here right now and you look at it, I'd feel good about saying that's the best quarterback division. I would. Now, all time,
that's what I was trying to wrap my head around.
I'd have to think about that a little bit. Maybe that's another thing we break down when we talk about playoff performances. We talk about all-time quarterback divisions. I'm trying to rack my brain real quick here, but we did have AFC East of Dan Marino, Jim Kelly, and even Ken O'Brien in the late 80s, where you'd go, damn, that's pretty freaking good. I mean, that is. The Patriots were hurting. At one time in the AFC East, too, we also had, Brady and Manning were in the AFC East together. But that's a good one. I got to think about that. I'm not sure if I'm going to say it's all time, but Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Bo Nix, and then Fernando Mendoza on top of that,
right.
That is a pretty strong. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, that's a longer exercise for sure. That's a tough one.
Oh, you got me really thinking. I know. Now. I'm
especially
really going.
Like you're an NFL historian.
Yeah.
Pete said he has one.
Go ahead, Pete. What's your tell me? There we go.
That's
all right, so 1994 NFC East is Jim Kelly, AFC East, excuse me. Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, Drew Bledsoe, Boomer Esiason. That's pretty strong.
That's, household name level kind of stuff.
I'm trying to think of some of the years of my dad. My dad's years had, Phil Simms, Troy Aikman, Mark Rippon, who did win the Super Bowl, or a Doug Williams, you could say.
That's pretty
some crossover.
That's a pretty crazy trio.
Yeah, yep. And Randall Cunningham. So that wasn't bad itself there. That was pretty good. I don't know if it's that, but that's a good one. And then I know he's got Let me hear it. The other one is
Favre, Rodgers, Stafford, Cutler wasn't too bad in 2010-ish. Yeah, because you had Favre go to Minnesota after the Jets.
Yes.
You had young Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Stafford in the abyss at the time.
Exactly. So yes,
Smoking
I
Jay.
think the names itself were good, but yeah, Favre, that was not a good year. He was not in his prime anymore. Rodgers was about to be unveiled to the world in the playoffs that year in 2010 when he was really talk about all-time playoff performances.
Right.
That's going to be in our conversation on a later pod. And then who was the other names there? Favre, Rodgers, and Jay Cutler.
Matt Stafford.
And Stafford, I mean, yeah, big-time talents for sure. Stafford was young and just getting going. And Cutler, at that point, yeah, good, but there was memes and we weren't sure whatever. But that from a name standpoint, that's pretty good up there. It's just none of those guys were kind of in their prime at that point there.
So I think you'd be looking at 2009 for that. So in terms of passing yards, Rodgers was 26 years old that year.
Mm-hmm.
He threw for over 4,400 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 7 picks. Then you go down. That was the one good Favre year at Minnesota.
That was in Minnesota the year they went to the NFC Championship.
Yeah, they were
and lost to the
12-4.
Saints.
He threw for over 4,200 yards,
Yes.
33 touchdowns, and 7 picks.
Yeah.
And then Jay Cutler had the big volume year. He threw 27 touchdowns. He threw 26 picks.
Oh, my gosh.
So Smoking Jay was,
Yeah.
doing his usual. And then this is the weird one. Like, you kind of just forget about Stafford back then.
Yeah.
So he only played 10 games that year. They were 2-8. He threw 13 touchdowns and 20 picks. So
Holy crap.
Not a good Stafford year.
No.
Not a good
Names
Lions
were good
time.
and a lot of potential and stuff there, but yeah, a little all over
But a
the
good
place.
call.
Yeah,
A really
very-
good call there.
Very good call.
More NFL news. A guy that I feel like has just been underrated his entire NFL life. Bucks great Lavonte David finally announces retirement.
Yeah, it's a sad day. I mean, but also an awesome thing. Lavonte David, I've never really gotten a chance to be around Lavonte David other than just like a hello and what's up and all that. But I've always heard from friends in Tampa and all that. I don't think anybody would be surprised. Awesome guy. Gym rat football player like we talked about, an absolute legend for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, going to go in the Ring of Honor for their football team. I've had a lot of people go, is he a Hall of Famer? I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I don't. I think he's a legend, and that's what stinks about football. We got so many good players that we forget about that don't get to the Hall of Fame, and we go, yeah, man, that guy was amazing. But I don't think he's quite a Hall of Famer, but certainly in the Bucs Ring of Honor and one of the best defensive players in the history of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense.
It's a tricky one, right? Because
Yeah.
he was so good for so long.
Yeah.
He was only a first-team All-Pro one time.
I know.
Which
Yeah.
is probably going to hurt his Hall of Fame case. But it is weird. I don't love this in baseball, but I actually like it in football a lot. Longevity should matter.
I know.
Because he played linebacker from 2012 to 2025. Feels like he walked away on his own accord.
It does seem that way.
That's a long time. From age 22 to 35, he never played less than 12 games in a season,
yeah.
which is nuts. The last 2 years, he played all 17.
Right.
Which he forced, the wildest Lavonte David stat is he forced 33 fumbles in
It's
his career.
incredible.
That's
yeah.
utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's just that he didn't have like the 4 years where he was Luke Kuechly or Patrick Willis.
Exactly. And I think that's probably the more important thing to voters, and I think we're seeing that a little bit, is just like, what was your prime like? And it was an elite. That's why Terrell Davis got in. And I think people were like, yeah, okay, so what? His career was 6 years. But for 4 of them, he was the best running back in football. So I think that justifies it. Rather than certain other people you could talk about and go, yeah, he had an 18-year career, but at no point in his career was he ever talked about as being a top 3 at his position or a top 4. And that's the interesting thing about those kind of talks all the time. Lavonte David, I feel like, was one, not a part of a lot of great defenses, which kind of hurts linebackers at times.
Yeah.
I know they won the Super Bowl and did that, but they weren't even that year looked at as like, oh, the Bucs D, watch out.
Yeah, they were just
They
good. They were
just
good enough.
They were
Yeah.
good. They were good. Exactly right. So he wasn't a part of that. And then I also think, to your point, he had only the 1 year All-Pro and just not enough years of being considered one of the 2 or 3 best linebackers in the sport. But, congrats to Lavonte David and enjoy that retirement.
Our last bit of NFL news for today, the kickoff to the season, a little different this year, Chris. The Seahawks, of course, won the Super Bowl. They get to kick off the 2026 season. That'll be on Wednesday, September 9th. No Friday game this year, as we're accustomed to seeing.
Nope.
But the 49ers and the Rams will play the Thursday night game. That's the second game of the NFL season in Melbourne, Australia. It's
crazy.
On September 10th.
Crazy.
Have you asked Kyle about his thoughts on any of this yet? Like any feel, or is he just in we got to get there when we get there?
No,
because I think as a coach, this is it would keep me up at night.
I can speak to you personally in knowing that I played in a preseason game in Tokyo. I think I've told you this before. My first game ever was a preseason game in Tokyo against the New York Jets. Awesome. I mean, it was a great experience. But it's a 17-hour time change. We were all messed up.
When air travel back then was not what it is now.
Could I wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, half the team would be in the hallway of the hotel reading the paper, looking at their phone, whatever, because people were wide awake.
Sure.
Right? So it was an awesome experience, and I'll still never forget the first play of the game with Warren Sapp busting through the line of scrimmage in Tokyo, tackling Curtis Martin, and then getting up and doing the sensei bow.
I've seen this.
And the place went crazy. I mean, crazy. And they hit their damn things. And it was
they're the loud. And I mean this in the nice, the most positive way.
It was amazing.
They're the loudest fans on earth.
Oh, it was amazing.
They scream the entire baseball game.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Sapp wore the Karate Kid bandana around Tokyo the whole week, and it was he was the greatest thing ever. They thought he was the coolest guy ever. It was sick. He was Godzilla to them.
What was the field like?
The field was field turf, crappy field turf.
Yeah. The old school
dome.
synthetic?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Meadowlands used to have that.
Right.
Briefly.
But that's a brutal trip, and I still say to this day that was part of the downfall of that Buccaneers team that tried to come back the next year and win the Super Bowl. It messed up our training camp. It really did. It set us back a week or two. So this is a big ask for a football team. I mean, again, I would think they're going to have to get there a week early to adjust the time. They're going to play a game at 10:30 a.m. Australia time. It's going to be the day in the future for when we're watching it. We're going to be on Thursday watching it. It's going to be Friday where they're playing. That's what's crazy. You got it? Yeah.
You hear me? So much to process.
Exactly. We're going to be watching Thursday night. It'll be Friday morning when they're playing. So they're going to go through that. Yeah, they have a little extra time, but to come back, it's going to take at least a week to get used to the time change. And then within that, they got to play a real week 2 game. So that's crazy. All right, so there's 2 things. One, can we show the graphic of this one? I'm still shocked by this right here. That Mike Evans made the graphic over Christian McCaffrey or Nick Bosa. I'm amazed by that, okay? Lavonte Adams on the other side at first, I questioned that, and I was like, what? But then I was like, oh, wait, Puka's got some problems right now. They're not going to put Puka on there.
That's right.
At this moment. So that was cool. But on this, okay, I know my friend's not happy about this. I know that.
Yeah.
First off, to open your season there, and then open your season with really – a game that's the easiest travel road game of the year for you. It's we're on a plane for 4 minutes to go to L.A.
That's a gimme.
And then we go to the stadium in L.A., and it's a 49ers home game.
Of course.
And that's the thing that I think people in football think went on too, is that the Rams begged the league to have this 49ers game somewhere else because they're sick of the 49ers fans coming over and taking the stadium, right? So that's a tough task for the 49ers. On top of that, here's my other problem with our opener, NBC on a Wednesday night, which would be the second time in the history of football it opens on a Wednesday night. We know it's the Seahawks, but why doesn't the NFL tell us who they're playing too? Why did we know the Rams 49ers, but we don't know the Seattle Seahawks one? I'm just this is an NFL. Why not unveil that, right? Because I thought it was a cool moment. It's cool. Hey, it's NBC. It's our game. We know it's going to be in Seattle. It's the defending Super Bowl champs. Okay, we announced Australia. I just was surprised that the NFL didn't want to announce Seattle's opponent either.
By the way, I had to go back in the archives here for Jets-Bucks Tokyo.
You're funny. You're looking that up. I'm over there going, what are you looking at? What are you trying to do?
This is my favorite thing about doing this show is that I can just go down rabbit holes and still listen to everything you're saying.
Yeah, you're gifted that way.
Yeah, my mom makes fun of me for this. She thinks something like a slight screw is loose. Anyways, this was week 1 of the preseason 2003. This entire game is on YouTube, which is amazing. The Bucs website wrote up an entire recap of the game. You guys kicked ass. It was 30-14 against my Jets. I love this paragraph from Buccaneers.com. Sims, the rookie currently standing 3rd on the Bucs quarterback depth chart, played the entire second half and fared well. He completed 7 to 10 passes for 70 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions.
Yeah, I did play well.
So
I did.
Like, you might have the best stats for a quarterback ever in Tokyo.
I could. You're right. I could put that on my resume.
We're looking for records.
Nobody tore up Tokyo like I did.
Chris Sims is dangerous in Tokyo.
You got me down this. That was an amazing weekend. And again, we got some stuff we'll hit on, but I think the people will enjoy this regardless. I mean, amazing experience. I remember waking up the next day and seeing Pardon the Interruption, right, with Michael Wilbon and whatever else.
Yeah.
And one of the things on the side was, did the NFL get it wrong with Sims, right? Because I almost came out as a junior because I was being told I was a first rounder.
Sure.
Then senior year, junior year, the Big 12 championship game, I screwed up and threw interceptions, and then we didn't beat Oklahoma my senior year, and I fell. And I was like, I got labeled as I couldn't win the big game. So, I was pissed that I was on the Bucs at the third round, right? I was like, what the hell? This is crazy. But that was an amazing week altogether, that experience. I remember Keyshawn Johnson, he was walking out of the hotel, and he's like, hey, I'm going shopping. Do you want to go with me? And I was like, well, cool. Well, I'll tag along. And I went along with him, and I mean, he was paying big money for luggage and stuff, and I was like, wow, I actually had fun just watching him shop. I'd never been with another man watching them shop.
Like,
I think he shipped it back or packed it or whatever. He was getting like nice Louis Vuitton bags and stuff, and I was like, wow, I dreamed to be like this one day.
This is cool.
This is amazing.
I love the NFL.
Oh, it was great. It was also the same trip where we had a party with the Jets like 2 nights before the game, like a little cocktail thing.
Yeah.
And Keyshawn was holding court, and Keyshawn was, of course, really, really good. We know that. I mean, he was awesome. But he was holding court, and he was trying to tell some guys on the Jets and the Bucs that he was better than Terrell Owens. All right? I'm better than Terrell Owens. And, Keyshawn was never bashful in saying these things. And, we're all sitting there like, So Rich McKay, who's our GM, now works for the Atlanta Falcons, he's walking by just as he says this. And Rich is the one that traded to get Keyshawn from the Jets.
Traded a lot.
And gave him a lot of money.
Yeah.
And he goes, hey, Rich. He goes, tell the guys here, who you taking, me or Terrell Owens? And he looked at Keyshawn, and he looked back at the crowd, and he went, hey, Keyshawn, when you catch the ball, it's first down. He goes, but when T.O. catches the ball, it's touchdown. And we erupted. And Keyshawn's such a great sport. He laughed about it and all of that, too. It was awesome. And I also had a lot of fun, actually, that night, too, going to Roppongi. And had some other activities that went on that I probably need to make sure I can talk about before I actually talk about them.
For a future pod.
Yeah.
Coach Cam J said, Tokyo Sims, Hoodie Mello, Untucked Kyrie.
That's amazing.
Tokyo Sims is I'm going to make this a thing. It will be on a shirt. That is legendary. What a strange whole setup that is, but very cool.
It was cool, but it's hard to the point of the travel, Australia, Tokyo. Like I said, I felt like we came back. It took us about 2 weeks to get adjusted back to Florida and, the time and the clock in the USA.
It is pro day season, and we talk about how the NFL, the conversation, even when the season's not going on, it's amazing how anything can take over.
Yeah.
The talk of yesterday on football internet was Ty Simpson's Alabama pro day. We're going to talk about Arvell Reese. Ty Simpson, Chris, through the pro day. We already saw him throw at the combine, so this felt lower stakes to me.
Yeah.
Like, we know he's good in that environment. We know he's healthy and he's in that script. But did you have any thoughts of it? Number one, not a lot of guys always do both, right?
No, not always do both. He did it. The one thing is I missed it. I feel like I haven't got to see enough of it to make like the true honest judgment.
It wasn't turned into a spectacle.
It was not. It feels like, usually this is where I rely on NFL.com. Because they usually have like, hey, here's every throw from Ty Simpson's pro day or somebody else.
Here's some of it.
I'm going online last night, and I'm like, damn, okay, I just see a few throws here and there. And then wait, where can I watch this? And I'm searching everywhere. And there's people's phones that are filming it and all of that. Hey, he's an athlete. I could see that enough. And then he made some impressive down the field throws. That's 100%, real. Yes. But again, I can't glean enough from it. I need to see the full workout before I can give you guys an honest assessment of things that I thought and just have some better pictures and angles to tell you about things I thought of his throwing mechanics and the quality of the football. I'd be lying to you to tell you I could take too much from it right now and give you an honest assessment that way.
Yeah, this wasn't really blown up into anything because this is a part of the process. Simpson's already kind of checked that box.
Yes.
He's going to have – I think the bigger thing is everybody's trying to figure out what's the team for him.
Well, I think that's what it is.
Like finding a spot for him.
Where is he going to go? And I think the reason he had to do it here is because he's got to show people that he's legitimately like that guy. I think people are like, "Ooh, I see some things I like, but is he that guy?" And again, you see there, he's not very big, so it's not. And again, so you're not very big. What do you got to do? You got to get out there on a day like that and go have some evaluators and coaches go, "Holy crap! I didn't realize he's that quick. Holy crap! The ball kind of explodes out of his hands. All right, now I think a little differently of him there." And of course, the big conversation started by Dan Orlovsky about he has Ty Simpson ahead of him, and that's become a big thing and all that. So, but I think the league is still trying to figure out Ty Simpson. It would be my assessment. And, yeah, I of course, don't agree with Dan, and I think there's actually a pretty big, wide margin between Mendoza and Ty Simpson. There's things I like about Ty Simpson, but Mendoza is clearly the guy for me.
And to your point about smaller quarterbacks and want to see them throw, he's not going to go number one. But to bring it back to something, I heard this about Baker Mayfield this draft year. A lot of teams wanted to see him throw in person, and they were shocked.
They were blown away.
Blown away. Because they thought, they were like, I didn't expect this at all. And eventually Baker went number one, which was, not crazy, but it was surprising that year. But he was thought of for so long as this
little undersized, scrappy.
Right.
There's some things we like, but there's no way he's a top 5 pick franchise guy that way.
Everything.
Yes.
Simpson is trying to solidify himself in the first round.
Yeah.
I am not convinced that he's a lock to go in the first round.
I'm with you there.
I think it's going to be very close. I think it will take a Jackson Dart trade situation.
Maybe.
But it's kind of hard to find a home for him. And a lot of teams are going to want to see him work out, as well as the other guys. The Jets are going to have a private workout with him,
yes,
Carson Beck, and Drew Aller.
I got you.
That's not a surprise because you hire Frank Reich, you're throwing him into this situation. He has to see these guys and probably get a feel mentally for them.
Totally. And yeah, what I is interesting, and I always say this about Frank Reich, he likes big pocket passing quarterbacks. That's what he really wants.
And that's two of those. That's
two of those. That's right. Whereas Ty Simpson is not. And again, I feel like the league is a little down on the smaller quarterback right now. It's one of the reasons I say I don't know if everybody's going to buy into Ty Simpson. We talk about it. Size is a skill. We know that. And I don't think he's going to be able to impress people as to the capacity of Baker Mayfield. I mean, I saw Baker Mayfield on the field in Texas Tech the year before they were going to tell him to leave because Patrick Mahomes was coming. Him and Davis Webb were at Texas Tech. I went on the field in pregame with Cliff Kingsbury, and I watched Baker Mayfield throw, and I was like, Baker Mayfield can really throw it. Like, they should have their guy. I didn't know Mahomes was coming. I was like, they got their guy. And I'm one of the first back in, I was doing Notre Dame to go, Baker Mayfield's the man. He looks like he's an NFL starting quarterback to me. He's that. I don't think Ty Simpson's going to blow people away with that kind of throwing to your, like the story you told. Or like the same thing with Josh Allen. People look at Josh Allen and then they went and saw him work out and they went, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was this good of an arm. Holy cow, it's rivals John Elway. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see if he can make that kind of move here.
Roy's Repair said Ty Simpson would look pretty nice in yellow and black.
Yeah, the Steelers?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because we do this every year with the Steelers. The only year they really did it was when they took Kenny Pickett. It's going to be interesting. I'll say that.
I don't know what they're doing there. Now, could I see Ty Simpson working the Mike McCarthy, old Aaron Rodgers offense and doing that? Yeah, I think that's what he's actually made for. Quick throws, boom. Okay, hop, move, make a throw. Yeah. That's who he is.
Roll him out.
Exactly. And just like Aaron Rodgers in the old days of Green Bay. I think he's kind of made for that. I don't think he's necessarily going to always be like, I'm in the pocket, it's collapsing, I'll throw the 25-yard comeback here and take the hit and just drive the ball in there. I don't know if I see him making those plays on a regular basis in the NFL.
So the talk of town in the draft world yesterday was not really around Ty Simpson. It was around Arvell Reese. So, and the reason being is we've now seen some bag drills from Ruben Bain, which we'll show that first, Chris, and then Arvell Reese. You have not seen the Reese
I have
bag
not
drill.
seen.
So this is Ruben Bain, which we know how he can bend and turn at his weight. It's
his
incredibly
bend,
impressive.
He's impressive. First of all, I mean, we're all going to talk about the arms and all that, but damn, I mean, power, beast. He bends incredibly. I think his first step is really underrated because he covers a lot of ground and he's so powerful. It doesn't look that quick with the turnover, but I'm looking at it next to other guys or even Mesidor who gets off pretty good, and you go, he gets off as good or better on Mesidor in a lot of plays. And it just doesn't look the same because he's got these big, thick legs, and they're powerful, and it's a little more long strider. But, I mean, I'm impressed with him doing this stuff right here.
His teammate, the right tackle, Francis Maui Noah, told me, because I asked him, like, how does he get away with having short arms? And he's like, it's the bend. It's like being that big and bending. He's like, for me as a tackle is so hard to, protect against that. And those were big words for a guy that's also going to
Totally.
go in the first round. So
Totally. And just off of that,
Yeah.
too, like, put the camera on me for a second. You see this a lot when you're looking at these pass rushers. Oh, wait, here comes Ruben Bain. He's so powerful. Let me brace myself because he's going to try to run me over. And then he kind of does that and then dips the shoulder. And you see the guy go, oh, and he can't find any leverage to push him because he's braced himself for the power rush. And that's where the bend can really, come in handy.
So not, what is it, apples for apples necessarily, but Arvell Reese at his pro day. You haven't seen this yet.
No, I'm glad.
This drew a lot of conversation yesterday.
Oh, yeah. I could see why. Yeah, well, it's almost like he's doing this right here as like a linebacker instead of being pass rushy.
Which,
And,
guess what position he played.
Yeah, exactly. Now, again, if there is, and like with him as a pass rusher, the bend is not up there with some of the other top-tier pass rushers. I got no problem with saying that. He's a little more upright that way, but I don't think it's so stiff that I go, oh, no, this is a problem here. Yeah, and see, there's
This
bend.
is the side-by-side.
There's the bend on the left. Yeah, that's the positions you need to be in a lot as a defensive end. This is when we talk about being pliable, being able to win in awkward positions. These are the type of things you talk about. Bain can do this, get up, take on a lead blocker, and then shed him, and then make a tackle, and you go, wow. Arvell Reese, obviously not as good at this. He would do it a different way. He does it a little different way altogether. But I don't think his lack of bend is so alarming that I'm like, oh, no, it's not going to work around the edge. I'm not worried about that. He's still got incredible get-off. There is some bend, and then we've talked about he's got speed to power. He does have that. So he scares people like the opposite of Bain, where people are like, oh, I got to brace for the power. People are like, oh, I got to get back. I got to get back. And then he catches them while they're in the mid-step and hits them underneath the chest. And it's like, oh, you're screwed. He's going to push you back into the quarterback now. So, I'm going to lean on the film more than I am the bag drill there.
That's how I felt, too.
And I
Also,
bet you he hasn't done those a whole lot.
He's an off-ball linebacker
Exactly.
right now.
So these are
20.
new to him.
Like, I love Ruben Bain, and we're going to do our edge rankings on Wednesday.
Exactly.
So you'll want to be here. You'll want to be
Definitely.
seated for
It's gonna-
that because
that's
this
a good
class
one.
is very, very good.
Yep.
But that's one aspect that, number one, Reese will work on, but it's never going to be the reason you draft him. Like, you don't watch Arvell Reese and go, I'm taking him in the top 5 because he could bend around the corner.
Yeah.
That's just
No.
But what Ruben Bain, he has to do that.
He has to because he's playing that position, simple, and that's what it is.
And that's why they're both great.
Exactly right. Exactly.
So, but it did blow up on the internet yesterday. It's that time of year. Like, I think people like a player and they look for a reason to say why they like the player. And then people don't like a player and they over magnify things like that.
Yeah, I would say don't.
Like if you didn't like Ty Simpson and he airmailed an out route yesterday,
it gives you the justification.
You would tweet that
to go,
out.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But when he hits the perfect post, you're like, this is why Ty Simpson will work. That's the draft season, right?
Exactly right. And that's where you gotta take it for what it is and not over evaluate some of this stuff.
Blad of 1732 said, how do you see Ruben Bain falling in the draft due to his arms? Bain answered this saying, Mike Tyson, he wasn't the tallest guy. He wasn't the longest-limbed guy. But when you felt him, you kept your distance.
I turned on the film worrying about maybe his arm length, and I know it's a real thing. This would be one of the guys I would go, I think can probably overcome this. There's just too many other things. And then his power is just incredible. And you get to see it against NFL starting offensive tackle types. That's really good. And with Bain, he was one of those guys where I felt like the better the competition, almost the better he was.
Think about who he practiced
Exactly
against.
right. So I just look at it and go, there's enough there for me to go, I feel comfortable with it, and I don't think he's going to fall all that far. I mean, if we're talking about, we thought he was a number 2 pick and now he's a number 8 pick, is that a fall? I guess. But I certainly think he's off the board pretty early on day one.
We're going to take our first break about an hour into this Sims Unbuttoned Live. When we're back, we're answering your questions and reactions on Chris's linebacker and wide receiver rankings right after this. MLB opening day is on NBC and Peacock. To lead off, the Pirates go to Queens to take on the Mets. Paul Skeens on the hill, by the way. Yeah, not good. Not feeling great. Then in primetime, it's the Diamondbacks against the World Series champion Dodgers on NBC and Peacock today and tonight.
Wow. Skeens' girlfriend going to be there?
Probably.
He's still dating her,
I
right?
think she might have thrown out a first pitch at Citi Field last year, which I don't know.
Okay.
I don't have an explanation. Maybe they're getting ready for when they eventually pay Paul
She's from
Skeens
Jersey, right?
$700
She's a
billion.
Jersey girl.
That probably could have been it as well.
So I can understand that. I actually saw her.
Livy Dunn?
Livy Dunn, right? I saw her at what the hell, Fort Charles. Have you ever heard of Fort Charles in New York City? It's one of the coolest restaurants in the city.
Okay,
it's like
this is a different tax bracket.
spot. It definitely is. It might not even be my tax bracket.
Give me like five. Give me 5 years.
Just let me know. I mean, I usually see somebody like the last time I was there, I sat next to Dua Lipa, right?
Okay.
So it's like that kind of place.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So yes, but Livy Dunn was there. And I got to see her in person. That was cool. She had a crew of what it looked like Jersey family and friends around her.
Big to do.
Yeah. Regardless, Fort Charles prime rib, right? And it's really the prime. I don't know why they call it prime rib because it's not the best thing they have there, but it's like a dungeon. New York City place. There's only like 10 tables, right?
Oh, so this is like
it's like one of those. It's like you got to call somebody to figure out how the hell you can get in there. It's one of those kind of places.
That's how Carbone is as well.
Yeah,
Although this sounds like a few steps above
this
that.
is like it's newer and the more in thing right now. Yeah.
All right, so this week we did linebacker rankings.
Woo, woo.
Here's Chris's. Tier 1 was Arvell Reese. Tier 2 was Sonny Styles, Anthony Hill, Jake Galday, and then we had the tie at 5 between Jacob Rodriguez, Justin Jefferson, and Bryce Betcher. We're going to get to some honorable mentions. Here are my linebacker rankings. Did a top 10 here. We see eye to eye exactly on Reese and Styles, Chris. I'd see Jay Allen at 3, who we're going to talk about in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob Rodriguez at 4, Jake Galday at 5, so I think we're pretty even on both of those guys. And then to round out the top 10, Josiah Trotter. Talked about Anthony Hill's concerns yesterday. Kyle Lewis, we're going to get to in a second. Very interesting player at Pitt.
Totally.
Bryce Betcher and your guy, Justin Jefferson. For all of my rankings, you could check it out at NBCSports.com/NFL Draft. But let's get into C.J. Allen, Chris. This is someone who, 6'1", 230. He just turned 21 in March. First team All-American. He was a Buckus Award finalist as the top college linebacker in football. Captain. You watch the tape, he's always yelling at people and getting them lined up.
That's apparent right away.
Smart, tough.
You know that.
Not the biggest guy.
Yep.
Really loved him when he was healthy this year. The last couple games when he was clearly not was a different story.
Yeah.
But I obviously like him.
Yeah.
You have some concerns. What are they?
I do. And to start off, first off, I mean, like you said, you got to be a leader and smart to be linebacker at Georgia. You got to be tough. There's a lot to like about him. There really is. But there was a few things physically that I just was not in love with. And, again, we're seeing here in the league, and I feel like this happened a little bit the last few years, where Georgia and Alabama guys, to me, sometimes they're just a little overdrafted because of the emblem on their helmet, and there's just a lot of hype around it.
NFL defense.
Yes, NFL defense, and we know the kind of guy he is and all that. Two that come to mind. Remember, people were, Nakobe Dean's a top 20 pick. He's like, you couldn't tell anybody. I was like, he's not even a first rounder. People just say, you're an idiot. You're stupid. Get out of here. Don't do your job anymore. It's like, no, I was right. Terrion Arnold, the same, like Alabama.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not trying to say, but overdrafted. Jeff Okudah at Ohio State. Guys where it's like, hey, the emblem and, there's some things I like, and they're from a program that I trust and all that. But, yeah, so that I think at times they get a little overhyped. But I'll say this, I felt like I was not impressed with his sideline-to-sideline ability. I was not impressed with his awareness of where the ball was when he takes on blocks. There was too many plays where I thought he just did his job and he didn't try to do more. I kind of explained that to you yesterday. There's plays where I go, all right, you took the A-gap away. They told you to do that. You did that. The running back is right here. He ran right by you, and there was no effort to really get him. You kind of just went, I did my job. Somebody make the tackle now. And I would just want to go, some of the other top linebackers would have, sold out to make that tackle. So that's the part I didn't like. I do think I would worry about him in passing situations in a big way. I don't know if he's a 3-down linebacker.
He's a little one-dimensional.
He is
I
definitely
I
that.
agree with you.
He's
on
old
that.
schoolish that way. And so I know he's going to be tough and physical and take on blocks that way. I just didn't think his ball hawking, go get the ball carrier was what I wanted. And then, yes, on top of that, a lesser athlete. And again, this is where I laugh. This is where the draft freaking drives me crazy. 6'1" and 230 is small for some guys, but then with C.J. Allen, everything checks out. He's a first rounder. And I just want to go, what? So wait, this guy, it's too small. This guy, he has a G and a red helmet, and we go, that's fine. It's fine. And I don't understand that. I don't understand it. Either way, I know he's a great leader. He's tough. But, yeah, I got a few concerns with the physical ability there.
Another guy, Josiah Trotter from Missouri. This is an interesting one. Obviously, the last name, nothing surprising about that. Another Trotter playing linebacker. 6'2", 237. He's still 20 years old, so he is not going to be 237 pounds in 2 years. We know what that last name means in terms of NFL linebacker, Chris. But you and I have had conversations off the air. One-dimensional in certain ways against the
kind of a little similar we just talked
like
about.
That thumping.
Yeah, it's old school.
He's a 1995 linebacker.
Exactly. It's a little of that.
Cool.
It's cool.
On first and second down.
Exactly. It just you worry about that. There's a little bit of the same thing we just talked about with C.J. Allen. Like one of the first things I wrote, I go, he's a good athlete, but he doesn't pop like the other guys. Like it's not like, wow, And then he comes downhill. He'll hit someone. He'll hit anybody. But at times I want to go, wait, the ball's here, and you're worried about hitting this guy, and what are we doing? And then he's on the ground too much. That would be another thing I would say. But the pass coverage is, something you definitely worry about with him. And, he takes on linemen and does all that stuff, but doesn't, again, what I've said about C.J. Allen. He takes on blockers, and I want to go, wait, you were there. Your arm was free to make the tackle, and you didn't realize the guy was there. He kind of loses his awareness or the eyes on the ball. He is strong at the point of attack. He's not going to get overpowered, right? I just wrote, I wish he found the ball more. Too many plays where he gets blocked, delivers a blow, but there's no urgency to make a tackle. He's on the ground too much between the tackles, and overall, the athlete scares me as well. I thought he was one of the lesser athletes of the linebacking group. And so that's where I just wasn't sure. I know he's going to be able to do ISO up the middle and be fine there. It's the other stuff I worry about.
You probably have to pair him with a very certain type of linebacker.
Yeah.
Like if there's a lead blocker in the hole, he'll blow them up.
He's going to do that.
Somebody else better rally to the ball and tackle.
Yeah.
So
and maybe I'm wrong all the way. We'll see where it goes. You're right. It is fun to watch in a lot of ways.
Where he's tricky is that he's 20. So say things start to progress a little compared to like what is Jacob Rodriguez? Probably 24, 23.
24,
so like you give Trotter 3 years and maybe some of the green light comes on in certain areas that it's not now, but there's also no guarantee of that.
No, exactly right.
So that's the harder point about projections.
Totally.
Our last guy here, Kyle Lewis, Jersey guy from East Orange.
Yeah.
He's a smaller linebacker. He's about 6 feet tall, 220 pounds, more in the Justin Jefferson mold of body.
But for Sam, again, it's not really held against him when you read stuff like it is other guys. That's what I don't get. It's just like Betcher from Oregon, it's held against him. Justin Jefferson is held against him. Here's a guy that's smaller than them all, but for some reason with him, it's not. We don't worry about it. And that's what I don't get about the draft sometimes. We're just like, red. This is red, but it's blue. And I'm like, what? What are we talking about? But he is intrigued. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I like this rant because I definitely agree with it. It's needed context. What I'll say about Kyle Lewis and why people probably really like him, why I liked him a lot.
Yeah.
One, he's a better athlete than Betcher by far, which he has to be. He's 220 pounds.
Yeah.
That's first percentile linebacker weight in the NFL. That means you're barely a linebacker in the NFL. You're more of like a nickel dime kind of versatile piece.
Yeah.
When you're that size, you need to be a great athlete. He is 4'5", 340, almost 40-inch vertical. The 6'9", 7'3" cone, like it's all agility and speed.
He's a phenomenal athlete. I did not think he played like 4.53. It was a little slower than that.
Indy fast track.
Yeah, but everything else, I went okay. I mean, like we talked about again, having your body in weird positions, getting off blocks, making. Oh wait, somebody tried to chop my legs out from underneath me. I still stayed on my feet. I'm weird in some position, but I got up and then made the tackle. I saw some of that stuff with him. A lot of that stuff with him that I loved, and that does speak to the athlete he is.
The reason he made my top 10, Chris, he is linebacker 8. I think he's going to be a phenomenal player in coverage in space. Like, we got this running back, and we know they're going to run this route 6 times today. Who can match up? I think he's a matchup player in that regard. He's not a 3-down player.
Yep.
He's just not.
I don't.
But there's value
that.
in that. Like it's 3rd and 8, we could substitute, get him on the field.
Totally. And with the guys like this too, sometimes you just go, okay, well, in another year or two, he might be 230, and it might change you. And then maybe a team like that's where you got to check out the body and look at him and all of that stuff too, and then go into with a Texans team like him, with the Titans, like it's going to be the teams that like the smaller linebackers that look at that, or it's going to be a team that goes, oh no, I think he's a chess piece. I mean, guys like this sometimes I want to go, why can't you use him like Emenware? Who cares, right? It's the same thing. I mean, he's maybe not as long as Emenware, but what was Emenware? 210 coming out, something there?
At least.
Yeah, maybe 215, 217. So I think we
220.
Lose. So we can lose that. Like, okay, this guy's an inch and a half shorter. He's an incredible athlete still too. He could do some of that stuff.
All right, let's get into the wide receiver reactions.
Yeah.
So those are the holdovers from the linebacker. Of course, to revisit the wide receiver rankings, the top 5, and we did a lot of honorable mentions. But Denzel Boston was number 1. Jordan Tyson was in the same tier as wide receiver 2. Chris Brazzell and Carnell Tate in tier 2 at 3 and 4. And then Zachariah Branch at number 5 in tier 3. We got plenty of questions and comments here, Chris. The first one from Moose 4KU440. Pretty funny that Chris seems to have totally abandoned his love of one-play touchdowns and top speed. He used to be like Al Davis, where that was by far his number 1 requirement.
It's still one of my favorites. Don't get me wrong.
Chris Brazzell is number 3.
Right. I do like those kind of guys. Now, there's not one that matches totally in this draft to where you go, wait, everything else is good to go along with the great speed. I do, me. I'm all about that. I'm a little bit more of a traits guy that way. You got to do something elite. In this one, Brazzell's that guy. There's not a lot of those guys that I would go, they have everything else and just this straight, oh my gosh, watch out speed in this draft here. But don't worry, Moose, I'm still that guy. I didn't abandon it, but sometimes you just got to take it for what it is. It's a different year, and there's just not a lot of those guys that are in this one.
Plenty of takes on Denzel Boston being number 1. Kale Sukup said, Denzel Boston is normally not Chris's type. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, well, I hear that. Again, I think that's similar to what the question before was. But there's also everything else there is pretty damn special. The route running, the acceleration, the ability to 50-50 balls. Like, he to me separates better than Marvin Harrison Jr. did coming out. That's what I'll say. And we know where he got picked. But, I understand. He usually is not my normal self. But I also, too, as I always say, self-scout thyself.
Right.
And where I've been wrong on guys like this in the past, where I didn't give credit enough for their ability to run routes and how you can build an offense around them that way. And I think that's what made me think a little bit differently with him. But, I thought, again, in a year where there's not that just true speed guy that is also good at everything else, this to me was the best overall of the bunch.
3 more on Denzel Boston. James Clark said, love it. I've been big on Denzel Boston. He ran a 6'8" 3-cone in his pro day too, which is elite for his size. Absolutely. Will Jack said, wower. Boston, who I originally saw tape of and wanted 16 to the Jets, but so many analysts knocked him too stiff, too straight line, etc., that I began to doubt. Now I believe again in Denzel Boston again.
You should. He's not too stiff. He's definitely not. You don't run 6'8" in the 3-cone at 6'4" and be stiff. He's not that way. I think sometimes people take stiff for like, oh, he runs upright or he's tall. And it's like, that's not exactly meaning stiff that way. He can disconnect the lower and the upper half and do really intricate things that way to help him get open. And he does have shake and then get up the field and do that. I'm a big fan. And Denzel, gosh, at 16, I don't know if he'll be on the board. That'll be interesting.
It's going to be interesting. Gabriel Carnes said, I really, really like Denzel Boston. He reminds me of Jacoby Myers, so I'm hoping the Raiders pair Mendoza, the back shoulder king, with him.
Yeah, well, he is. He's special that way. The guy I really think of more than anything is T-Mac, Tetaroa McMillian from last year. That to me, I think, is who he reminds me of.
They win the same way.
More exactly right. I think that's what it is. And again, yes, he can catch all those back shoulders, and Mendoza is the king of the back shoulders. There's no doubt about that either.
Zachariah Branch, Ian Loves Soccer, said Branch will be so good. Watch his highlights closely. The first guy never brings him down. Every single catch involves breaking a tackle or making a man completely miss. Couple this with his speed and he never dropping passes, he will be a stud.
I think so.
While E. Thomas 5 said, Connor, you got to remind Chris that Zachariah Branch was literally in USC's offense last year and Riley chose Lemon. Chris needs context sometimes.
Yeah. No, I listen,
I mean,
I already knew that. I brought that up
Right.
at the time. I said that. It doesn't matter that he was there. And I can also tell you Lincoln Riley's been wrong before, too. Just so you know, all right?
Yes.
So, yeah, off of that, I knew he was there. I put that together. My point was that if you last year put Zachariah Branch in some of the situations Mekhi Lemon was on at USC last year, I think his stats and play would be better and more wowing, and people would be talking to him in a different capacity. That's the point I was trying to make. I know he chose Mekhi Lemon. I got that. Yeah, to feature him. And I asked you that question, and like it feels like he left there because he realized they were going to go all in on Mekhi Lemon. I don't know that. But I did realize that E7 Homa 5. E7. How do you say that one there?
E7, yeah, Homa 5.
Homa 5. Okay.
Yeah. On Mekhi Lemon, speaking of, CJ Stu said, I would have thought Jordan Tyson would be in Lemon's spot and vice versa. Lemon's size and speed are valid concerns, but he doesn't play small or slow, and he plays with a lot of bravery over the middle.
He does that.
Tyson has nice moments, but I feel it's a lot of projection with him.
Yeah.
I would argue the opposite on the last point.
I think so.
I thought Tyson did the most NFL things out of anyone in the class.
I would agree. I don't really have many questions about
healthy.
Tyson. The only thing we talked about was the straight speed, and then we talk about the straight speed, and I go, well, I still think he's faster than Mekhi Lemon.
Yes.
So that's the problem. But they're like CJ Stu 06, you're not wrong. There are concerns, but he doesn't play small. Mekhi Lemon is tough. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think he's nearly as good a route runner.
When life gives you lemons.
He's not quite as big, and he's certainly not as twitchy and explosive as Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson, I think, other than Zachariah Branch, out of the guys we really talk about, is probably the twitchiest guy. And then nobody runs routes like Jordan Tyson. I mean, nobody.
Right.
He's a special route runner the way he does and moves, and especially coming out of college.
Edward Barnes, 75, said, Skylar Bell is too old, 24 or 25. Yikes. Skylar Bell is 23. So the age thing is starting to drive me insane.
It's stupid.
Listen, I told you off air, when I see a guy's 25 and he breaks out in year 6 of 6, I right away I'm like, I hope I don't like this guy because that's a red flag.
Yeah.
But we've gone way too far the other way.
So way too far. We're overanalyzing
There's NIL.
that. Yes.
There's player development.
There's COVID.
Right, there's COVID.
The league is crazy. I mean, the sport is more popular than ever, where you see kids that go, he's a starter, and he can't get on the field here. He's going to play in the NFL one day, and he's not going to get on the field to junior year. So he transfers somewhere else, and then he's got to, earn his way there, and it takes a year or two. So, yeah, I think people are way too over-evaluating that. I looked it up. The touchdown still counts for 6 when you're 24 or 25 years old. It doesn't really matter.
Ask Kurt Signetti about that.
Rockets up your ass does not really matter about what age you are. So, yeah, and we're not looking to have him when he's 35. We want to know what he looks like at 24, 25, 26, and 27, and we'll move from there.
Beast OY6RH. I understand the injury hurting his draft ranking, but how is Chris Bell not on this list? He's big, strong, fast, good hands, turns into a running back with the ball. He's a first pick to me if healthy. What am I missing?
Okay, all right. Well, there's a lot of things that they're missing there. First off, it's again, I'm not trying to be it's slow. I think out of the 23 receivers I watched, I would argue that Chris Bell might have been the slowest of all of them.
Really?
I mean, it's up there.
I think when he builds up speed,
he can
fast,
get going.
But he brought up him looking like a running back, and I think that to me it was more he doesn't play like a wide receiver.
No, he's got a physical thick. He's 6'2", 222. I mean that's thick.
Right.
I mean that's a big guy. But slow, clunky breaks, way too many extra steps. I write at one point I go 4.65-ish, maybe 4.7.
Wow.
Right? That's what it looked like to me. I thought his get off at the line of scrimmage was below average for an NFL wide receiver. Not great acceleration or real quick to stress a cornerback, out at the line of scrimmage. So there's one where you go, wait, the acceleration's not that good, but the shakes to maybe, okay, if you can't win with your acceleration, you got to win with with your footwork and your ability to shake a guy, and I just was not overly impressed with that. I just thought he doesn't separate all that much, and that's a problem. When he does wins, it's with his size and his strength. He's got good, strong hands. He can get some tough physical yards after the catch, but he's not going to run away from anybody. Back shoulders or contested catches versus man, yeah, he's good at that too. I get it. But, yeah, there's just not enough there.
Chris Bell, to me, different build, but also dense. They used him almost in a way that Malachi Corley was used once upon. It's not real receiver.
Well,
his best plays were off shallow crossers.
So
best plays.
I wrote they featured him in an offense that's more advanced than more offenses than college football. So the offense gave him advantages that I would say a lot of other receivers didn't get. And then he was smart enough to sit in the right spot in his own coverage and do that. But those were the best plays, like you're talking about, where I would go, his best plays are really just concoctions of the offense. Where, we could look at somebody like Zachariah Branch, and I go, his best plays are he caught a screen and made 4 people miss and then exploded down the sidelines. And there's a difference to me in that and evaluating it that way.
All right, so let's take a look at DraftKings total wide receivers drafted in round 1 because a lot of these guys are insanely talented. So the over-under is 5.5 right now, Chris. Let's go through it.
Yeah.
So Carnell Tate's going in the first round.
Yeah.
Jordan Tyson is going in the first round.
Yep.
Injuries or not, I am not in the camp that he's going to fall to the second round.
Denzel Boston is going in the first round.
Is going in the first round.
Right.
Mekhi Lemon is going in the first round.
I mean, it sounds that way.
Omar Cooper's going in the first round.
It's another one that does sound that way.
I'd call them 5 locks.
I want to challenge the Cooper one. That's the only one where I feel like
I think it's happening.
I'm going to be interested to see as we just get a little farther down here and I get to talk to some people in the NFL this how he's viewed. Because I think he's going to be one of the more polarizing guys, even to the NFL people.
I think I'm going to take the under here.
Yeah.
The options at 6 would be Casey Concepcion, who just had a minor knee procedure, which might bump him into the 30s. After that, you need somebody to be a surprise first rounder. Here's my rankings right here. So obviously, the first 5 guys I think are going in the first round. I think Bernard, Brazel, and Concepcion are going in the top 45, but that's much different from the first round.
Yes.
All the guys after that, I do not think are going in the top 40 to 45.
If you made me bet, I think I'd go the under too. I'm with you there. Brazel's the only guy that we're mentioning that I'd go
because of the size and speed.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Do we get to the end of the first round, a bunch of receivers go off the board or whatever, and some team goes, man, I mean, gosh, he's 6'4" and he runs like a gazelle. We got to get him. But I think I kind of tend to be like you. Probably more at the top of the second is where we see a guy like Brazel go off.
We're going to take one last break. When we're back, you've waited for it. Thanks to Reddit. Chris versus the NFL in terms of evaluating quarterbacks.
Who
after
shall
this.
win?
On DraftKings Sportsbook, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the app and use promo code CORNERBACK when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
Sims versus the NFL. PFT crew member Wyatt found a little thread on Reddit. This was created by sad_bear_noises. I truly think this person has no bias. Like, I think they were just generally interested in the topic because of how much noise your quarterback rankings get year after year. So it's titled Chris Sims Quarterback Rankings versus the Actual NFL Draft. Haters of the world unite is the first sentence. With Chris Sims dropping his rankings today, it's time to share them to shreds. But I decided to really ponder the question: who ranks quarterbacks better, the NFL, or could it be Chris Sims? The haters among us would instantly shout out, but Zach Wilson. Friendly reminder: the NFL drafted him second. So if Sims was so far off, the NFL was only pick one less wrong. So basically, the whole point of this was that your quarterback rankings get labeled as a contrarian take, but there's actually merit to how you rank versus how the NFL drafts.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I hate when
legitimately
people,
in the data there is.
I hate when people try to say, like, oh, you're just trying to stir the pot. Everything I say, I believe. I'm not that.
Let me stop you there. Yeah. Would the NFL draft be as exciting if the best 32 players from every NFL draft were the first 32 players taken?
No.
Nobody would care.
Exactly.
Nobody would care. They'd be like, oh, player 25 is probably going to be
thing.
a Pro Bowl. The whole theater of the draft is that people do not know how it's going to play out.
Yes.
So why would the rankings... Like, imagine a couple years ago, there was somebody that was like, Puka Nacua is my number one receiver.
Yeah.
What do you think the reaction would be to that?
Well, I can tell you, when I didn't make Marvin Harrison Jr. my number one, and I put Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr., my son, I think I told you this the other day, he came home from school and was like, Dad, you're an idiot. Like, my friends are making fun of me. Have you seen your comments? You're getting roasted. Like, he was like about to cry because people were all over me. And yeah, because sometimes we get, as we talk about a lot, we get force-fed by people who don't really know, making proclamations. And it's just like, oh, that's what we hear. That's all we hear. That's what we hear. Marvin Harrison, he's going to change the NFL.
Well, it's consensus
He's generational,
thought.
And it just goes on. And so that's where it's not fair. And then, it's an imperfect thing. It's not easy to do this. It's not. You're going to mess up. I mean, you don't have all the information. You try to project a little bit. You try to take things you know and see how they'll translate and go from there. I know for me, too, and I always say this, I see it through more of a prism, especially in my job here. I'm not trying to find Johnny Good backup. I'm trying to talk to you guys about guys that I think could be players in the league. And I feel like that's maybe where I've been wrong in my past a little bit, like with Matt Corral. That's where I would tell you. I knew there was some things I didn't like about Matt Corral, but he had a few things physically where I went, man, nobody can throw it like that, or nobody can make that throw. And I don't listen to off-the-field stuff when I make the rankings. Right. I don't even know it usually when I make the rankings. So, yeah, he was one I missed on. But as I've told you before, I see it through the prism of being a starter more than I'm trying to find necessarily always the cleanest film and the best backup of the situation.
Well, Sad Bear Noises legitimately put in work. Like, this could have been turned in as a thesis paper. It's impressive. They used however many. These are all the metrics, basically. So, and they're all pretty viable metrics to use when evaluating not just quarterbacks but players. This is from 2017 to 2024. The three rankers are you, Chris, how the NFL drafted them, and then the consensus board. The consensus board can be a little tricky to navigate because it compiles a extraordinary amount of people, including people like me, that rank prospects and forecasts, but there's hundreds of different. Yeah. So it tries to pull together the general media consensus, and there's tons of people doing this. The categories statistically that were used were approximate value, which in my opinion, and this is a longer combo for another day, is more based on quantity and volume than quality at times.
Yes.
That's where the NFL draft won. You were in the middle. Consensus was last. Passing EPA, which is one of the most viable metrics in this, expected points added. That's data king point EPA. You were the leader. Draft was second. Consensus was last again. Yeah. EPA per play was you leading again.
I wasn't even close on that one. I dominated passing EPA.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Yeah. Really big deal. Consensus last again. Completion percentage over expected, same order. You, the draft, and then consensus. Not a great showing for consensus on this. And then yards per attempt, you were the leader again on that one. Consensus beat the actual draft, which is fascinating. Not a good showing from the NFL. Touchdown rate, you lead again. So you actually took home 5 of the 6 categories. As you said, total passing EPA and EPA per play was a colossal landslide. Like, you dominated 2 of like the analytics staffs obviously love those, and those were huge wins for you.
Yeah, right.
Completion percentage, which is, I don't want to say a dying stat, but it's not held in the same light that it once was.
Yep.
The draft won that. The reason being that we live in a world now where it's easy to filter out screens and things that don't really matter to completion percentage. But completion percentage doesn't filter those out. That's why it's not viewed in that way.
Yeah.
The composite of all 7 categories, it was you, the actual draft, and then consensus. So, Chris, an excellent showing for you in this.
Appreciate it,
And
man.
they even went, I mean, this is very, very legit.
I mean, this is crazy, actually.
Then it goes, if you're wondering, well, I'd like to actually see the players associated with this, the EPA per play by year, your rankings were Mahomes, Deshaun, Trubisky,
Yep.
Lamar, Allen, Baker, Darnold, Rosen,
Yep.
Kyler, Drew Lock, Haskins, Finley, Stidham, Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I've seen people too. Yeah, that's one I've
Just
gotten
funny
dragged on.
because you defend Daniel Jones.
I
a little
defend
bit
him
now.
as well.
Yeah.
I totally did. And again, that's where I hope people realize, because I'm capable of saying I'm wrong and messing things up.
Yeah.
Yes, totally. And
Which
I
is
saw
important in this industry.
Exactly right. But yeah, Daniel Jones, I felt like I was wrong about or right about at the time. But again, by the time we got to about year 2 or 3, I started to go, man, Daniel Jones is better than I thought, and I need to give him more credit.
Long story short, you were very, very right about the 2017 draft, the 2018 draft. Then you hit a skid. You were wrong in 2019 and 2020. You were in the middle of the pack in 2021. And then you got back on the horse here and went Tokyo Sims from 2022 to 2024.
Yeah, which is funny, too. Yeah, I'm looking at it going, wait, I had the Burrow, Tua, Herbert, Love, Eason. I didn't do good in that one. That wasn't because I. So
Yeah,
I guess.
Tua, some of the metrics actually do back Tua.
Oh yeah, because I'm sure some of those stats and all that stuff that early on in the career. So that would make sense.
I mean,
okay,
if
yeah,
you're in a
got
Mike
you there.
McDaniel offense,
Yeah,
you
definitely.
are like you'll see Herbert's metrics this year. I would imagine in terms of efficiency.
Yeah.
because his run game propels the efficiency of the pass game so much that it actually has helped support Tua analytically.
Yep.
Despite Tua not being viewed as a very well thought of NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then once again, 2022 is one of the weirdest draft years ever for everybody. But then you get to, and you had Malik Willis second, who can come out on top ultimately. And then there's of course the Brock Purdy conversation and all of that. But
Yeah,
nobody
sure.
really ranked Brock Purdy, to be honest with you.
Right.
CJ Stroud was a massive win for you because of that rookie year right away.
Yep.
And then 2024, I think what actually ironically helps you is Caleb and Jaden, whatever, everybody, really liked them, is that you had Bo Nix third,
Right.
and Bo Nix has been an efficient passing quarterback despite you being lower on Drake May.
Yeah, I messed up on
you
that
being
one.
Yeah, but nobody's going to be perfect with a 6-man quarterback class. So the Bo Nix aspect helped you a lot here too. So all in all, to say, as K. Gemma points out, Sims struggles with the basic English language, but is an NFL analytics darling. You really are.
Yeah.
Like the analytics community really likes you.
That's good, interesting. That's cool.
It's a
because
great
I
study.
I fight against
study.
analytics a lot too. Oddly enough.
They like you.
Yeah, that's good. But it's not easy. Yeah, Drake May. There was things I didn't like about his throwing motion. He fixed them. We talked about a little at the end of the last year. I saw some of those things start to peek its head a little bit into the late season, the playoffs, and the Super Bowl, which I know he was injured, and that played to it too. Some of the ones that I'm also like most proud of is the ones that I called that everybody thought, oh, this guy's going to be so special. Whether that's a Will Levis that I had major concerns with in certain plays where there was a lot of people like, what are you talking about? He's definitely the number 2 quarterback, or, he's better than CJ Stroud. I know I've had some misses too, but
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance and Justin Fields. I tried to tell everybody at the time, man, they can't throw the ball. And I know I had Kellen Mond in front of them, and that was a disaster, but Kellen Mond could really throw it. Now, he didn't have a lot of the other stuff, but so, yeah, those are some of the ones I'm proud of too, to go, wait, these were media darlings that everybody just told you, oh, they're unbelievable. You can't wait till you see it. And I'm proud that I was able to sift through some of those and go, no, there's some issues here. Let's not crown them quite yet. But never easy. Gonna be wrong again. Gonna be wrong this year. That's what it is. It's the NFL, and it's not easy, and especially at the quarterback position, because There is. There's just a lot to try to figure out to make sure it's going to work.
A huge thank you to Sad Bear Noises for a very unbiased deep dive of analysis.
Thank you,
That's a
dude.
lot of
Thanks a
work,
lot.
and we thought it would be really cool to show on the show. I think even if you were just as wrong as the NFL, we still would have shown it because that's how we do things.
Yeah,
but
100.
the data is the data. You weren't. So.
And you got to self-scout thyself.
Right.
We're not here to hide from criticism. That's not what we
How you
do
get
here.
better.
I mean, this guy's a Mets and a Jets fan.
Right.
He's critical.
That's how I live.
That's how he does. He's get criticized all the time.
This
What
is
an
my
idiot!
life.
Wow, you took the Mets?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know anything. Yeah, that's right. I was born into the darkness. Thank you, Pete.
All right, everybody. That was a meaty one. We had a long YouTube live session right there, but I think it was worth it. I actually had a lot of fun.
A lot of
I think
NFL
we had
news.
a lot of news. We hit on a lot of good stuff today. Hope everybody else out there enjoyed it as well. All right, Monday and Tuesday next week, going to be at the owners' meeting. So not going to be with you.
Nope.
Keep your jacket game straight without me for a few
I'll
days.
be
All
here.
right. All right. So you're going to hear pods with me and Florio and some of the coaches and the GMs. That's going to be on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, we're back live.
It's a big one.
And it is a big one. It's the Edge guys. And damn, there's a lot of good ones. And we're going to have lots to talk about there. So come find us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm out in Arizona with Florio. Wednesday, Thursday, back here live with my man. YouTube Lives at 10 a.m. That's what we do here at NBC Sports. All right, everybody be good. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy March Madness. Enjoy baseball opening day on NBC. Peace out, homies. We'll see you next time.